We were in Cuba, and we had a translator then named Felix, and he had come from Cuba. I mean, as a kid, he was taken out early. I didn't realize that when I asked him to come. And he was arranging, it was his last day, he had to leave. And he was arranging, because we were in the region of where he grew up, or where he was born. And he said there's a church in the town, and he called them up, and he wanted to do, he's all dressed up to do it. And the people on the mission who were arranging said, we can't do it, sorry. He was heartbroken. God said no. Said they'd take us to a plantation to minister on a farm. I see him, I look back, and he's in a daze. They were taking him around, he's in a daze. I said, what is it? He said, this plantation is my grandfather's farm. This is the place. Not just the town, the place. God, because in other words, God said no to what he wanted and then took him to the exact place, not the town, the exact place. And that night, I'm preaching the message, he's translating the first, which I had planned already. The first words were, and everyone shall return to the land of his father. Amen. God says no. Now they don't know what to do. And then it happens. Verse 9 now. And a vision appeared to Paul in the night. A man of Macedonia was standing and pleading with him and saying, come over to Macedonia and help us. He's led by a vision. Now, he didn't understand why God said no, and now it's going to come. Even if you have everything figured out and it makes sense, still you got to ask God. He may know something you don't know, which he probably does. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all your ways, and he'll direct your path. That doesn't mean don't use reason. Yes, use reason, do your best, but always lift it up to God. And major times, when you look at the early church, how it was led supernaturally. Pentecost, miracles, vision of Peter, of the unclean animals, Cornelius praying, all these things, Antioch, prophetic word to Paul and Barnabas. It's happened with us major times. The major things have happened. God has shown us. I needed God's intervention, or I said, Lord, give me like when I was coming into ministry, or I was asked to come into ministry full time, I said, Lord, I know I'm not, they tell me I'm not supposed to ask for fleeces or signs, but I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to ask you for one, I'm going to ask you for 6 of them. Give me these 6 things, and do it by the end of the month. At the end of the month, he did every single thing I asked. Now, I'm not saying he's going to always do that, but he did. To get our own place, God sends a man out of our first place, out of nowhere. And he comes up to me, an American Indian living in a trailer, says, God told me you're the one. I didn't know what that meant. And he says, he gives me a check for $150,000 to get our first building. To get our next building, God led us to circle it like Joshua 7 times. It was ridiculous. 12 o'clock at night. Next morning, we get the building. This building, word after word after miracle, fight after fight. And then he gives it to us. When we went to Cuba on missions, we met up with people who kept saying, we knew you were coming, we dreamed it, we saw you people, we had a word. I had a dream once, I was in China, and a Bible was in a man's hand, and it was burning on his hand. And I was afraid it was going to burn his hand. And I hear the words, I said, this is for the redemption of the sufferings of the persecuted church, in my dream. I wake up, and there's a fax from a brother who said he'd just been reading the night before the story of China of the persecuted church and their burning Bibles. And one reached his hand in and grabbed a page, or grabbed the Bible, took on page, and that's what they went on. It was the beginning of God saying, go to China. Go to China, which I did. You see, that's another key to find God's will for your life. What is God's will for your life? Well, one thing that we cannot keep out of it, I don't care who you are, what your job is that he said, go into all the world and make disciples of all nations. That is God's charge to us. Not to ministers, to everybody, or you are a minister if you're born again. And that tells you something, that in some way, so it doesn't matter whether you can go on a mission or whether you're spreading the word here, whether you're ministering here, you are called by God to minister for him, to somehow get the word out. And the more you do it, the more God's will be fulfilled in your life. Hi, I'm Jonathan Cahn, and I hope you were blessed with the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Feel free to share your reactions with your comments and how you were blessed, and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.